Hi guys, you're back for another episode of Spider Monkey Eats. Today I'm going to show you guys how I make stuffed peppers. There's a lot of different ways that people make stuffed peppers. Sometimes they'll put like a rice on the bottom and then the meat. I find that in order for you to get enough protein in your meal, it's actually easier to just fill the pepper with meat and a few other ingredients that you guys will see, and then if you want to do like a rice on the side. So on the side we're going to do a rice and quinoa mix. Really good just to break it up. And then within the pepper we're going to stuff some onion, garlic, grass-fed ground beef, so really good ground beef, some peppers from the top, mushrooms, and then some tomatoes. Sometimes they'll mix it with tomato sauce, but today we're just going to use some fresh tomatoes to break everything up. So it's going to be really good. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cook and brown the beef, the ground beef. So I have a pan that's heating up. I have my oven already preheated to 350 because we are going to bake the peppers. It's going to be a few steps, but it's going to be really simple, really easy, and really fresh. You can optionally top your stuffed pepper with some cheese, okay? Even if you sprinkle a little bit, not going to make or break your nutrition, but you do not have to add that, but it will give it a little flavor. So we're going to sprinkle a little bit of just a 4-cheese blend right on top. So first things first, like I mentioned, pan's heating up here. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil, and then we're going to brown our meat. So you guys can come over, check it out. Okay, just about probably a teaspoon and a half. Don't need to go crazy with the oil because, again, the meat is going to have oil, and then we're going to drain out the rest. So a good way to know if my oil is hot enough, you actually will see it softening because my pan is already warm, but because we're going to use a little bit beforehand. This is a full cup of onions. We're going to use more after, but just a little bit. But if I drop one and I hear it sizzle, then I know that everything's hot enough. I wouldn't just dump it all and then not have my oil hot enough. So we're just going to use a little bit. Okay, we're going to use the rest of this afterward. Alright, so we know our olive oil is hot enough because everything's sizzling. I'm just going to use a little bit of garlic. We know our olive oil is hot enough because everything's sizzling. Put the rest of this afterward and then mix it in. But I do always like to have my meat flavored the rest of this afterward and then mix it in. I do always like to have my packaged flavored really well. I actually want to season it. I like to season it before I just throw it in there and then season it. I actually want to season it. I like to season it before I just throw it in there and then season it because it'll start cooking on the bottom and not be fully seasoned. So I did mix in onion and garlic powder and salt,
then some
peppers,
onion and garlic
a pinch,
chips.
and so our
onion and garlic powder and then some onion and garlic chips.
Slowly, so our
gaining some color. I smell it already.
Slowly.
The garlic I waited a little bit to throw that in because they are smaller pieces
already.
And then the garlic I waited a little bit to throw that in because they are smaller pieces. And then everything's going to cook even more.
So this is one.
Again, it's already been seasoned.
You can always add a little bit more if you'd like to.
Again, it's already been seasoned.
You can always add
we're going to get this nice and brown. We'll break up our chunks. But we're going to get this nice and brown. We'll break out the excess oil that we don't want in there. And then we will drain out the excess oil that we don't want in there.
Alright, so our meat is nice and brown.
Obviously, you see a lot of excess liquid in here. A lot of that, any fat that would be in the meat definitely cooked out. So I am going to strain it. Some people just put it on a paper towel, on a plate, but then you're kind of still sitting in that. So we are just going to pour this just in this strainer. Kind of just let everything come out in the... Put on a bowl underneath so that it really separates and just like has a moment to sit outside of here. Just drain out any unnecessary fat that we don't need. Okay, we can use the oil that's still in this pan, still hot. We're gonna let that sit. Okay, we're gonna put our remaining ingredients in here to mix with our stuffing. So onions are what I want to do first. Okay, we're going to let these cook for a little bit. Okay, because we want these nice and golden brown. Just a little bit. At least a little bit of softness in them before we add our other ingredients. So we can do some fresh black pepper. And then a little bit of salt. Just to help those sweat down. Once these get a little bit caramel, then we'll start adding in our other ingredients. So let the onions soak up a little bit of the oil that was left in the pan, and then I did add about a tablespoon of olive oil as well, so that we can coat that. Now we're going to add in our peppers. This is just the leftover from 2 of our lids, and then I have some garlic, so 4 cloves of garlic. So that's just some green pepper to give us some flavors inside, and then our fresh garlic. We want all this to have the opportunity to kind of cook a little bit, crisp up a little bit, and then we're going to add mushrooms and the fresh tomatoes last. So let these guys brown up, soften a little bit, and then add in everything else. So nice and golden. If you guys check out the onions and garlic, so the peppers have softened down. We're just going to add in our chopped mushrooms. Okay, so they don't need too much time. And again, everything's going to continue cooking in the oven. And then we have some chopped tomatoes, fresh tomatoes. So we'll mix this in. Once it cooks a little bit, we'll mix the meat right into here. Okay, you guys can have more peppers. I just am going to show you guys 2 tonight. We have this as a side. Okay, I know I'm going to have my protein, my good veggies, and a really healthy dinner. So we'll let this cook down, and then we will add our meat right to this mixture and stuff our peppers. So just going to season this mixture just a little bit more salt because we added everything else, a little bit of fresh ground pepper, and just a little bit of onion and garlic powder. We're going to mix the meat right in. I'm going to show you guys how much oil drained out, putting it kind of in the strainer instead of just on a paper towel. Just a little bit more seasoning. We'll mix this up. Tomatoes are cooking down, and everything's going to come together even more. This is going to be in the oven. We're going to stuff the peppers, cover them for 30 minutes in the oven, and then we can uncover them for about 10 to 15 minutes, again at 350. So I want you guys to see this over here. So our meat has drained out. Look at all of that came out. Okay, oil, fat, the stuff we don't necessarily need. Okay, we have the little extra olive oil, that's good fat. We don't need all that extra saturated animal fat. So we'll mix in, fresh veggies in here. Just let this come together. So the pepper I coated with a little bit of olive oil on the outside. Okay, just so 1, it won't stick to the tin foil, and then 2, it'll give a little flavor while it's cooking. Okay, so just straight up meat in here. Alright, so we can turn off our heat and we can stuff our peppers. We'll top them with some cheese, we'll throw them in the oven. Alright, so get a spoon, whatever works for you. Again, this is all going to come together more. You're going to get, depending on the size pepper, these are really big peppers. This bigger one, I would guess about, 6 ounces of meat is going to be able to go in here if we really pack this. So great for guys, take to lunch with you. And then this little one, probably 4 to 5, which for a meal, I would have about 4 ounces of protein. So that's why it's good sometimes to stuff the meat directly in the pepper and not necessarily add the rice inside. So just an option for you. This is how I like to do peppers. I'll even do more of a sauce in here usually, but I just wanted to keep it fresh and simple with fresh tomatoes just chopped up. And since this is mixed with some veggies and not just straight protein in here, it's not like just a chunk of meat, okay, this would definitely be, even though if it would fit like 5 ounces of stuffing, it would be about 4 ounces of meat. So just roughly, just estimates, but if you look at your pepper and you guys, are trying to be conscious, this is a good way to get your protein in in a tasty way. So again, like I mentioned, the outer part of the pepper, I did put, just with my hands, just a light coating of olive oil. Okay, I can keep this extra meat, you know, eat during the week, whatever works for you guys. Doesn't have to be all for just dinner, or I could have stuffed multiple peppers and had them. I am going to sprinkle a little bit of this for cheese. Again, optional, totally optional, but we'll make it look nice as well. A little bit more on there, and just a little bit of pepper, and a tiny bit of salt, and then we will cover these. Just a sprinkle. Okay. Cover this. Turn the oven on, a timer for 30 minutes. We'll check them out, uncover them, and put in 15 more. Alright, so we have our final product done and ready to plate to eat for dinner. So the peppers were in the oven, stuffed with the meat filling, covered for 30 minutes. I uncovered them and then left them in for 15 minutes. You could do a little bit longer if you want the cheese to get a little bit more golden, but the cheese melted and there's just a little bit, so it's good to go. So we're just going to place some of the rice and quinoa mixture that I said that I would make to have on the side, just to break it up. Again, most people will stuff peppers and they'll put it right in it, but then that takes up, you know, your spot for your protein when you can just have it right on the side. So we'll take one of our peppers. We'll help it out here. Alright. Yum. And again, these are huge peppers. You do not have to go this big with the pepper. But I got them, so I figured, hey, perfect to stuff them. You can mix the stuffing with a little bit of sausage if you want to break it up. So half beef, half sausage. Half beef, half sausage. You can do that. Or you can do lean ground turkey, whatever you want to. So this was baking for a while, so the pepper softens up, but not, you know, anywhere near mushy. You'll see we can kind of cut right into it. So soft, but a little bit of body. Peppers coming out, tomatoes. Again, sometimes I'll do this with like a tomato sauce, tomato meat sauce. But let's get a little bite of everything. Little meat, little pepper, tomato. Let's give it a try. Pepper's done perfectly. Just enough soften, but still has that nice crunch in it when you bite into it. The rice and quinoa packed with nutrients as well, because the quinoa, you know, has all sorts of nutritional values, some protein, some fibers. So it's not just rice, so break it up a little bit, but again, you guys can do whatever you want to. The meat mixture, you can get creative with that, what you put on the inside, but pretty safe with the onion, garlic, mushrooms, some fresh tomatoes. Hopefully you guys like this. You'll see the full recipe below. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment. If you guys like this video, if it's maybe something you'll try, give me a thumbs up. And if you never want to miss a video of Spider Monkey Eats, definitely subscribe to our channel, Ultimate MMA Plus.